The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...
Hi there and welcome to the second video of this series. My question to you is, what is your 1%? And in this world of disrupted, fast, constant change, how do you become more responsive to exponential change? And for you, Brett, what's your question?
I would say, what's your business's 1%? Because in a world of disrupted, fast, constant change, how do you plan for the future? And how do you build compounded momentum, right? That's the key part.
Absolutely. And before we get stuck into this, you know what I want to talk about, Brett? Because it relates to this. It's about how do we change. And I want to talk about two fundamental myths of change. The first is that human beings don't like change. And the second idea is the bigger the change, the bigger steps that we've got to do to change ourselves.
Which makes it scary, right?
It makes it incredibly scary. And these are two myths. The idea is that we hate change is not true, because every day you do change and you love going through that process of change. The problem is when the change is so big that you've actually got to step beyond your comfort zone, beyond your skill sets, that you actually start failing on this. How many times have you said, I need to lose weight, I need to give up smoking, I need to do whatever it is, get fit, go to the gym. And the problem is, old fat boy here, but the problem is we make these steps and these goals that we're trying to achieve, and we create these big steps and we keep missing the steps. And when we miss the steps, psychologically, there's a whole psychology behind this, I'm not going to get into it. We actually start creating this flight or flight response and we run away from the problem and we fail. And this is why we talk about 1%, because it simplifies it. And instead of matching this big massive change with big massive steps, what you do is you break it down into small easy steps that builds that compounded momentum. And that's a fundamental premise of
steps,
absolutely.
Guys. There's so much to do in our lives,
absolutely.
In business, in your own life.
Absolutely.
Tiniest of steps.
Absolutely. And we'll dig into this idea through the 5 steps that we've actually built and designed on how to actually implement this 1%. And one of the most fundamental principles that will change how you actually perform and deliver success, whether it's at a company-wide level or at a personal level. So
we see this every day, right?
Absolutely.
We're working with some really large organizations at the moment who are struggling with momentum by breaking down their KPIs, turning them into what you call OKRs, and then focusing on little incremental changes and measuring them. So a great example is, so many people come to us and say, well, we're going to learn something new. That's not 1% change. That's still big. Learn something new. We break it right down to the point where, well, why don't you hop online and go look for a course you want to do? There's your 1% improvement that day.
Absolutely.
Stop. Next day.
Well, it's even simpler than, well, it actually is as simple as that. Because you know what? You want to get fit. What you've got to start doing is just doing 1 push-up a day. And this is the psychology here. Because if you just make your goal 1 push-up every single day, can you fail at that? No. If you do 10 that day, you've scored a bonus 9. But you've still done your goal. You've still achieved your result. You've done your 1%. And in 6 months' time, when you can do 100 push-ups without any problem, but you just do the 1.
All you had to do was the 1.
All you had to do was the 1. You've still succeeded. And this is the underlying principle of what this is. And this approach redefines the subconscious and almost the cultural habits that we create in the organization. And it redesigns those in a most beautiful way. So this process, whilst technology is changing everything, it's really about how do we become responsive to this big change, the challenges that this technology is creating, and how do we adapt to that?
And guys, do it every single day. 1% improvement, 1% change. You do it every day for 365 days of the year, and what happens? You see an exponential increase of 38.97 fold.
Absolutely.
That's called exponential change.
It is. And you know what the beautiful thing about this approach is? When we talk about exponential, the idea is it doubles. So it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, etc., etc. So you've got this massive hockey stick of a curve. What we're suggesting is you're going slowly, 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 and then you build that momentum, but suddenly the results start building upon themselves. It's compound interest. And any investor knows you want compound investment. This is compound investment on how to manage the disruption that's happening in the market.
By the way, all these digital organizations, they do not set out to double every 18 months.
No, they fail.
do small incremental changes that are getting better. And when they get it wrong, They don't carry on doing it. They stop and they try to do something else better.
Absolutely.
And
But we'll dig into all of this in the next couple of sessions. So go about and think about what's your 1%. What's your business's 1%? Just give it some thought. And a clue on this one is look where you failed, because that's going to guide you on where the pain points are. But we'll get into all the details. So on that note,
hashtag 1% today, hashtag 1% 1% challenge.
There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.